Hello, it's Richard here from Intelligent Advisor IT Consulting with another in our series of learning videos about relationships and entities. This time round, we're going to be looking at the concept of reverse relationships, a very simple concept to understand that can prove extremely useful when building rules. First of all, let's look at a quick scenario. We have a data model that includes the concept of a customer and the concept of own brand products. So in a supermarket, they often have products that are sold under the brand belonging to the supermarket. And there is a relationship between these two. Customers can purchase many own brand products, and of course, the own brand product can be purchased by many customers. So this is a many-to-many relationship. What we call the primary relationship direction then is the own brand products chosen by the customer in English. In this case, I've also filled in the reverse relationship text. That's a prerequisite if you want to be able to use the reverse relationship somewhere in your rules. So I've simply reversed the language to say the customers who chose the own brand product. The reverse relationship is always present in a sense. It's just the act of entering the text here that allows me to leverage the reverse relationship whenever I need to. So I'm going to go and click OK, and now we'll talk briefly about collecting relationship. So I have an interview screen here called the customer view, and I have added the relationship collect to this screen. So I went into new input and I selected the relationship. You'll notice that when you do this, you can only choose the primary direction. That's an important thing, is that relationships can only be chosen and can only be collected or inferred in their primary direction. So I can only collect this in the sense of the products chosen by the customer. So in this particular instance, I have therefore the customer entity present on the screen to allow me to select the products for each of the customers. As a sort of extra point, notice that when you're adding a relationship collect, it makes it much easier to understand what's going on if you use substitution. So rather than just seeing customers' products, in this case, I'm actually displaying the first name and the last name of the customer as well, which will help me understand who's buying what. Similarly, for the actual relationship collect, you could modify this to include further information about the product. And of course, depending on the cardinality of the relationship, you might have other choices here than just checkbox, which is typical of a many-to-many relationship. So far, so good. So, I can go ahead and let's reset this. And I'll go straight away over and I'll create a customer or two. So I'm going to create two customers. So assuming that the customers have purchased some products, we're able to select those products. And as a byproduct of that, we are also able to leverage the reverse relationship. In this case, we have a simple instance count using the reverse relationship to find out how many products were selected by the customer. And we're able to display this in our interview. One slight thing to be aware of is that, and this is particularly true if you're using web services rather than an interview, is that, of course, if we have a customer and we are not able to know what products they have selected, so in this case I've said that customer number 1, which is Richard, we don't know which products they've selected. Of course, this means that when we come to look at things like the number of products selected by the customer, we get unknowns. In a many-to-many relationship where you have customers and products, it is potentially the case that you will have elements of the relationship that are unknown because you have a particular customer for whom you don't have the data, which ends up with essentially you have partially known data. That said, reverse relationships are easy to implement and easy to leverage in your rules. In this case, we can see we have a second rule to find out whether a customer purchased own brand beans, and in this case we're using an exists to detect whether the shop's own branded product is beans in amongst the own brand products chosen by the customer. So I can go back to my interview. Let's go back and choose the products again, and let's go back and add beans as a product, as a purchased item as well, which would help. There we go. Let's add beans, and let's add a unit price of 1 and a quantity of 1, and we'll make sure that it's the supermarket's own brand, and we'll go back to customer number 1, and we'll select beans. In the data, we can see that yes, the customer purchased own brand beans, leveraging the reverse relationship to go back from the customer to the purchased products and detect whether beans was amongst it. And that's using exists. So simple feature, sometimes neglected, very easy to use, and very powerful for creating reverse relationships. See you next time.